So here we have the Nike Air Force 1 Maniere while you were sleeping Diffused Taupe. And these were originally released in 1984, so it's a sneaker that was made quite early on in Nike's history. And it was made as a basketball shoe. And these were designed by Peter Moore, who also designed the Jordan 1. And this one in particular is an Maniere collab, so it's one of those sort of sneakers that has been developed by Maniere to celebrate 10 years of them being a brand and also, you know, a sneaker store. And so the box itself is comes in this nice package. I've never bought any of the while you were sleeping. I've seen a bunch of YouTube videos about the packaging, and it is a nice package, and the overall size of the box is pretty much the same as any other shoe box, which is good. And then you got the flip lid, and then you have this cloth which is made of, I guess, a violet material, and then the sneakers themselves, which is a nice looking sneaker, and you got only one pair of laces in these. So with the details, it comes in a diffused taupe and anthracite colorway. I was thinking, when you see again these in pictures, they look a lot more pink, but when you get them in person, it's got that similar Maniere tone going on towards this sort of light violet. Even though they say taupe, usually with taupe I sort of see it as being more going towards a sort of grey colour. I don't think this is grey. This is kind of more, like I said, like a lighter tone of violet, maybe going towards taupe, but it's still, you know, that kind of vibe, same as any other Maniere sneaker. And this has a 3/4 length / full length air unit, so it's supposed to end about there. And it was quite sort of signature at the time for, I think maybe this probably is the first basketball sneaker to have it. And it also has a polyurethane midsole, and the polyurethane is inside this midsole, with this being a rubber cupsole. And it's made up of all leather upper materials, and the leather quality on this I think is pretty good actually. And from what I can tell, it feels quite, you know, even though it's got the plastic shield in there, the leather feels quite nice to the touch, quite similar to the linens. I think the linens one are probably more tumbled. This one's got, I think, in my opinion, again I'm not an expert, but it seems to feel like it's slightly more thicker in terms of its leather quality. And the price for these is £135. So the comfort and sizing, this feels like much like any other Air Force 1s. I think what you have is the insole itself being this Maniere branded insole, so it's quite thin. I think, you know, it's not the most amazing, and then you have the while you were sleeping in there, but it's got, you know, the monogram type lettering for Maniere themselves, and which is quite nice, and obviously all of the while you were sleeping pack have that. And it also has, similar to any other Air Force 1, it's quite sort of neutral arch support. With this one, it's got like that contoured going on with the insole shape itself, so that's the arch support that you're going to get. And I think 4 to 8 hours of wearing time for these. I think Air Force 1s are pretty good to go out of the box, and this one, maybe being thicker in leather quality, you might need to give it a little bit of time, but I think they're pretty fine out of the box. And I would recommend going true to size. I have a wide foot, but true to size works for me, but I know some people go down half size in Air Force 1s, but it just depends on how you feel. I feel like if I go down half size in these, it's too tight for me, but each to their own. But I would recommend still to go true to size, just to have the extra bit of space, especially because they're good for like as a winter trainer, a shoe. And this pretty much has similar traction to a Jordan 1, I guess, with the radial patterns on the front and also on the back, and it's never, you know, had any issues really. I think they work well as almost, like I said, as a replacement for a shoe. So being a flat base for any sort of basketball sneaker, it's one of those ones where it's pretty much okay, you know, for traction. So with the look and style, it's got that classic colorway look to it, similar to any other Maniere sneaker really. And it's also got that retro styling, so, you know, it's very much an Air Force 1. And it also has those typical Maniere touches. So I've talked about the material overall, the sock lining, the inner lining, they're all, you know, got that typical Maniere touch. And then also like the swoosh as well, being this grey swoosh with the metal or white kind of undertone to it going around it, which is nice and quite similar to the Awake New York swoosh. And then you also have, instead of Air, you've got Maniere written on the side as well. And then also, you know, on the heels you have the A logos as well, with the little swoosh on the bottom, and usually that says Nike as far as I remember, or maybe it's just got the swoosh, but which is quite cool. And then on the front you have the A logo on the tags, and also on the swoosh on the right side, which is a cool detail. You know, so they have put their little touches on there, which is nice, and you know, it's nice to see that, especially for an Air Force One, because sometimes they're quite sort of lazy. And it's a good spring autumn shoe, really. This one in particular being, you know, this colourway, I think it will lend itself well to sort of wearing for special occasions and that kind of stuff, really. Like I said, they kind of pass as shoes, so you know, they work very well for that basis. And this one is a casual, smart casual type wear, so as I said, you know, it's one of those ones where you can wear them as shoes, and they're pretty good to go out of the box. And it comes with the white laces, but I think you could also put in grey to match the swoosh, and maybe even, you know, the taupe laces that you get with it. But you know, it'd be nice if they included some extra laces, but I don't think Air Force Ones usually have that. So with the final thoughts, I do like the materials. They are nice overall, and it's a good sort of presentation of, you know, how Maniere tend to rock their sneakers, and the storytelling is also really nice, and you know, being 10-year anniversary. And like I said earlier, it's just got those Maniere touches to it, so if you're a fan of their trainers, then you probably don't want to give this one a miss. And it has that 3/4 length, full length air unit, which is not typical in older sneakers, and the reason why these Air Force Ones stand the test of time is they do feel comfortable on foot, and then they also work well as a shoe. So with the comfort, you know, it's okay at the end of the day. It does what it says on the box. With the look and style, I'm going to go 5 out of 5. I think they've done a really good job on this, and I think some of the other pairs that they've released as part of the While You're Sleeping pack, they have all been, you know, nice, and I think probably the weakest for me is probably the Converse Weapons, then probably the Jordan 39s, and then also the Jordan 4s. I just wasn't a fan of that particular colourway on the Jordan 4, but the Jordan 3 and this you know, Air Force One are very nice, and same with the Air Max 95, but you know, I wasn't compelled to grab those because with the Jordan 3s I was waiting for the black cements. And the comfort, I'm going to give it a 4. I think for me it's like, again, Air Force One is never a bad trainer to wear, and these are quite cushiony and quite chunky as well, so they do feel nice on foot. And the quality, I'm going to give it a 5. Again, it's got the Maniere quality overall, and it's not, you know, being a loud sneaker, it's just very sort of sophisticated. And same with the pricing. I mean, Air Force Ones are good in their price, and this one being a collab and having their box and the presentation and the materials and the overall sort of insoles and things of that nature, I think you know, it's coming at a good price. And that's right, overall I'll give it a score of 5 out of 5. It's not a sneaker for me personally, because I have the Air Force One linens and I probably prefer those to these. But if you're a fan of the Maniere pack, like I said, then this is definitely a must-have. I think it's probably the best one out of the pack, and maybe then the Jordan 3s. But I do like, you know, I'm not so much of a fan of the clear sole on this either, so, but that's not like a, you know, that's a bit of a moot point, but it's just because it will get dirty overall. But other than that, it's still, you know, a cool looking sneaker. I think for me, just not too much of a fan of the, I suppose the colourway itself is, you know, Maniere have a lot of the purpley type sneakers, but if you can sort of rock that, then that's cool. But I'm just not too much of a fan of wearing that kind of colour all the time.